Have you ever wondered why you keep encountering the same obstacles in life? Or why certain goals feel just out of reach? What if I told you that the biggest challenge you're facing isn't outside of you? It's within. Today, we're exploring The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest, a powerful book that reveals how our greatest challenges are often self-created, and more importantly, how we can overcome them. The Mountain Is You dives deep into the art of self-mastery, showing us that we're the creators of our own limitations, as well as the architects of our personal breakthroughs. Through stories, insights, and practical exercises, Brianna Wiest teaches us that to move forward, we have to address the internal mountains we've built, those patterns of self-sabotage, the habits that keep us stuck, and the emotional baggage that holds us back. In this video, we'll go through the best lessons from this book, showing you how to identify and overcome the barriers within you to become your best self. Wiest begins by helping us understand self-sabotage, that tendency to act against our own goals. We might want to excel at work, but we procrastinate. We want healthy relationships, yet sometimes we push people away. Self-sabotage is often the mind's way of trying to protect us from perceived threats. It's our way of avoiding pain, failure, or even success if we're afraid of it. Wiest says that self-sabotage is rooted in fear and outdated beliefs. Those ideas we picked up from past experiences that we might not even realize are still influencing us. So, how do we change it? Wiest's approach is about compassion and curiosity. Instead of blaming ourselves, she encourages us to look at our patterns with kindness, to ask, why am I doing this? What am I protecting myself from? By reframing these thoughts, we can see that self-sabotage isn't weakness. It's our mind's way of trying to keep us safe. The first step, then, is recognizing that these habits don't define us. They're just areas for growth. Another major theme in the book is the idea of transforming pain. Wiest explains that pain is an inevitable part of life, but suffering comes from how we interpret that pain. Instead of resisting or running from difficult experiences, Wiest encourages us to lean into them and see them as a source of growth. She shares that each of our painful experiences holds a lesson. Whether it's a loss, a setback, or a failure, every hardship can teach us something about ourselves if we're open to learning. For example, maybe a challenging relationship taught you what you truly value in a partner, or perhaps a job loss helped you realize that you were on the wrong path. According to Wiest, pain can serve as a catalyst for transformation. Instead of seeing challenges as blocks, we can view them as opportunities. So, whenever life feels hard, try asking yourself, what is this experience teaching me? In doing so, we can turn our struggles into steps toward becoming stronger and more resilient. Our beliefs about ourselves shape how we see the world. If we believe that we're not good enough, we'll struggle with confidence and fear taking risks. Wiest points out that these core beliefs are often formed in childhood, based on what others told us or how we interpreted certain events. The problem is, these beliefs get lodged in our subconscious and affect us without us even realizing it. But here's the good news. Beliefs can be changed. Wiest's strategy for changing self-beliefs is through conscious practice and positive reinforcement. She suggests identifying the beliefs that are limiting you and actively working to replace them with empowering ones. For example, if you've always believed you're not good at handling stress, try reframing it. I am capable of managing challenges and learning from them. It takes time, but consistently challenging and reframing our beliefs builds a new, stronger foundation for how we see ourselves. One of the biggest messages in The Mountain Is You is about self-trust. Wiest explains that self-trust is the foundation of personal growth, but it's something we rarely focus on. We're often more aware of how others see us or how we measure up to outside standards than of how much we trust ourselves. Building self-trust, however, is essential. It means learning to believe in our ability to make the right decisions, handle challenges, and stay committed to our goals. So how do we build it? According to Wiest, the first step is keeping small promises to ourselves. When we say we'll do something, whether it's waking up early, sticking to a budget, or taking time for self-care, we need to follow through. Each promise kept, no matter how small, strengthens our trust in ourselves. Over time, This practice of honoring commitments allows us to approach bigger goals with confidence. Life is full of change, and often we resist it because it feels like a loss of control. Wiest explains that trying to control everything around us is actually a form of self-sabotage because it keeps us from being adaptable and growing in new directions. She encourages us to accept that change is a natural part of life and to lean into it rather than fight it. Embracing change doesn't mean abandoning our goals. Instead, it's about being open to new ways of achieving them and understanding that what we envision for ourselves might actually be limiting compared to what life has in store. By letting go of the need to control everything, we allow ourselves the freedom to grow in unexpected ways, ultimately creating a life that aligns with who we truly are rather than who we think we need to be. Wiest highlights that many of us are far harsher on ourselves than we would be on anyone else. We criticize, doubt, and punish ourselves for our mistakes, forgetting that we're human and that growth isn't always easy. Self-compassion, she explains, is the antidote to self-criticism. It's about treating ourselves with kindness, even when we stumble. This lesson is especially valuable because, as Wiest points out, personal growth is never a straight line. There will be setbacks, and during these times, it's self-compassion that keeps us from giving up. By learning to forgive ourselves for our mistakes and see them as part of the journey, we can create a more supportive and understanding relationship with ourselves. In doing so, we build resilience because we know that no matter what happens, we have our own back. Finally, Wiest talks about the importance of living a life aligned with our true purpose. Many of us go through life on autopilot, following paths set out by others, or doing what we think we're supposed to do rather than what truly fulfills us. Wiest encourages us to get clear on our values, passions, and what we really want from life. Living with purpose doesn't necessarily mean making big, drastic changes. It's often about small, daily choices that bring us closer to the life we want. We suggest taking time for reflection, journaling, meditating, or simply being honest about what makes you feel alive. The clearer we are on what we want, the easier it becomes to make choices that bring us closer to it. And over time, we begin to create a life that is authentically our own. So, what's the biggest takeaway from the mountain is you? Brianna Wiest wants us to see that the real mountain we must climb is within. By identifying and overcoming self-sabotage, transforming pain into growth, challenging limiting beliefs, building self-trust, embracing change, practicing self-compassion, and aligning with our purpose, we can dismantle our internal barriers and step into our full potential. If these lessons resonate with you, consider diving into The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. Let it be a guide on your journey to self-mastery. And remember, each step you take up that mountain brings you closer to the person you're meant to be. So take that first step, embrace the journey of becoming the best version of you.